Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my latest 2021 NFL Preview video. Today, I'm going to break down the Baltimore Ravens, but before I get started, if this is your first time here, you're new to the channel, I just got one simple question to ask you. Do you like football? Because if so, you're in the right place. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, ring the bell. That way you're notified every time I come out with a new video. If you've been here before, you already know the drill. You give me a thumbs up and you drop a comment below with your opinion, because these videos are a conversation starter. I'm offering my opinion, but really I want to hear from you and what you think. So here's how the video works. I'm going to give you 3 things I like about the Baltimore Ravens, followed up by 3 things I don't like, but stick around to the very end where I break down the Vegas over-under and I reveal if I'm going to put action down on the Baltimore Ravens. So hey, let's get this started with the first thing I like about the Baltimore Ravens. The first thing I like about the Baltimore Ravens is their wide receiver additions. First off, you get Sammy Watkins, a key component from the Kansas City Chiefs, the winner of the AFC the last 2 years. So you take away a key from them. Then in the draft, you get Rashawn Bateman and Tylan Wallace. These 2 players were big-time wide receivers in college. Wallace actually should have been a second-round pick, but he had multiple injury issues while in Oklahoma State. But I watched him quite a bit, and this guy's a big-time player. So if he stays healthy, he's going to be a major addition to the receiving core. Now, this team was dead last in passing yards last year, of course, number 1 in rushing yards. So adding talent to the wide receiving core makes a lot of sense, and it was a great move. And this goes hand in hand with the second thing I like about the Baltimore Ravens is I like their draft picks. When I say draft picks, I don't just mean this year, but take a look at the last 5 years. You go back to 2016, you got Ronnie Stanley. He's a Pro Bowl at left tackle. 2017 Pro Bowl corner Marlon Humphrey. 2018 MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson. 2019 Marquise Brown, who in 30 starts has had 15 touchdowns and scored from over 70 yards out in both seasons. He's a big play threat that the 2 wide receivers drafted in this year's class is definitely going to help. 2020 Patrick Queen, who led the team in tackles. Malik Harrison, the 3rd-round pick, will start alongside Patrick Queen. Ben Breederson, per our lads, is a 4th-round pick who's going to be a starter at guard. See, the thing is with the Baltimore Ravens is that they hit on their draft picks better than almost any team in the NFL. So when you look at this year's draft, you got a couple of receivers, and you got Odefe Owa from Penn State, a raw pass rusher with nearly unlimited upside. I like him with the Ravens because the Ravens over the past several years have hit on their draft picks better than almost any other team in the NFL. And here's the third thing I like about the Baltimore Ravens is I like their corners. The Ravens may have the best group of corners in the NFL, at least top 5. And it wouldn't surprise me at the end of the 2021 season if Marlon Humphrey's not considered the best corner in the National Football League. I mean, this guy's got all the athletic ability in the world, plus he's very big, he's very physical, he can run with anyone. Right now it's Jalen Ramsey, but at the end of this season, it wouldn't surprise me if Marlon Humphrey suppresses Ramsey. I think Humphrey's that good. On the other side, you got Marcus Peters, who's an absolute turnover machine. And then you have Tavon Young, who missed almost all of last year. He's a nickel corner who, when he's in the lineup, is just an absolute stud. And then you also have Jimmy Smith, who earlier in his career, he's now 33, but earlier in his career, he was the legitimate number 1 corner in his own right. I mean, these 4 corners I'd match with anybody in the National Football League. And bottom line, since they're in the AFC, if you want to advance to the Super Bowl, you're going to have to beat either Kansas City or Buffalo, which means you're going to have to go against Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce for the Kansas City Chiefs, or you're going to have to go with Stephon Diggs, who led the league in receiving yards and almost universally considered the best wide receiver in the NFL last year. And then your quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, also have big-time arms. So having a good group in the secondary is paramount to advance in the AFC. So just to recap the 3 things I like about the Ravens, I like the wide receiver additions. It goes hand in hand with their draft picks, not this year, but for the last several years. And I love their group of corners. Now, three things I don't like about the Baltimore Ravens. Now, before I start, I made this video before the J.K. Dobbins injury, and I got to address this because I love J.K. Dobbins coming out of Ohio State, and I thought he was going to have a monster year. So Dobbins' injury goes kind of hand in hand with the first thing that I don't like about the Ravens, and that's Lamar Jackson throwing outside the hash marks. Now, this has been a documented issue, specifically on the Round the Sticks podcast with host Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network. I'm a huge fan of the podcast and of these two individuals. And I'm kind of paraphrasing what they've addressed in the podcast is that he's got a big-time arm. He can throw downfield. He can nail you on those post routes. He can throw bombs. But when you throw those out routes, he really struggles. And this needs to be fixed, especially with the Dobbins injury, because this is a major weakness that he has. So this does need to be addressed. Without him fixing this issue or the Ravens fixing this situation this season, they're not going to advance in the playoffs. Which leads me to the second thing I don't like about the Ravens is I don't like their playoff offense. The last 3 years the Ravens have entered the playoffs. They've had Lamar Jackson as their starting quarterback, and they have a 1-3 record. And Lamar Jackson's played horribly, but it's not really a Lamar Jackson issue. Twice the Ravens were held to 3 points, and the defense in those 3 losses, the defense has given up 54 points. That's 18 points a game. When you give up 18 points in the playoffs, those should be wins. I mean, there's no excuse for the Ravens not to have won all those playoff games in the last 3 years because the defense has played good enough. The defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense, but the offense needs to get better. And the third thing I don't like about the Ravens is they lose their left tackle and their best pass rusher from 2020. Now, Orlando Brown was a Pro Bowl caliber right tackle that they moved over to the left side once Ronnie Stanley went down. He wasn't ever supposed to be a left tackle, but when he made the move, he ended up being named to the Pro Bowl as a Pro Bowl left tackle. And losing Orlando Brown causes multiple problems going into 2021. First thing you have to hope is that Ronnie Stanley returns back to his Pro Bowl form on the left side. And second, because you lose a Pro Bowl right tackle, even though you replaced him with Alexandro Villanueva from Pittsburgh's former left tackle, who they just disregarded. They weren't really interested in signing him back anyway. You lose depth, but you also have to hope that Villanueva can play up to a Pro Bowl side in a new position, which is going to be very difficult to do. And then you also lose Matt Judon in free agency, who did a variety of different things for the Ravens, but over the last 2 years, he's led the team in sacks, and he's gone to 2 consecutive Pro Bowls. Now, they did sign Justin Houston. They drafted Odefe Owa in the first round, but Matthew Judon was a very key piece in the defense that's finished second or third in the last 3 years in scoring defense. So the issue is that it's one thing to replace these 2 Pro Bowl players with just putting the bodies in there, but it's another thing to actually replace the production, which I don't think you're going to be able to do. And the problem is that it's 2 very key areas. So just to recap the 3 things I don't like about the Ravens, you have Lamar Jackson throwing outside the hash marks, the playoff offense, and then the loss of a Pro Bowl left tackle and a Pro Bowl pass rusher. And also not to be forgotten is the J.K. Dobbins injury. Now, this is the advanced part of the class. This is where I break down the Vegas over-under, and I reveal if I am going to put action down on the Baltimore Ravens. The over-under for the Baltimore Ravens is 11, and over 11 wins is even money, and under 11 is negative 120. Now, this means if you like over 11 wins, a $100 wager will win you 100, but negative 120 means you have to wager $120 to win 100. Now, for the Ravens to make the playoffs, is yes is negative 310, no is plus 260, and to win the AFC North is plus 120. Now, the Ravens are my favorite to win the NFC North, so obviously I think that they're going to make the playoffs. But when I look at the over-under, let's look at their schedule. And 3 out of their first 4 games are on the road, but they're winnable opponents at Vegas, at Detroit, and at Denver. Their home game against Kansas City is probably a loss. But if you look at their next 4 games, it's 4 consecutive home games. They have 3 home games, then a bye, then another home game. And I'm actually thinking that they could go 7-1, and then they play Miami on Thursday night. The last 4 games of the season, 3 of them are at home, and then you have a road game at Cincinnati. So, here's the thing. Are the Ravens better than the 11-5 team they were last year? I'm not really sure. But when I look at their schedule, I definitely don't see 6 losses. So I am going to put action down on over 11 wins. I'm not going to put a lot of action down, but I am going to bet on the Ravens to win over 11 because I look at this schedule. I don't see a way that this team finishes less than 12-5. This is a very favorable schedule, and it is a very good team. Now, as far as to make the playoffs, negative 310 is just a bad number. I'm not going to take that number. And to win the AFC North plus 120 for me, it is just not worth it. If that number was a little higher, I would probably go ahead and put a little bit of my bankroll down on the Ravens to cover the AFC North. They are my favorite to win the AFC North, but the only bet I would really recommend doing is over 11, especially at even money. Now, I'm using the numbers from Westgate Casino, so the casino that you're using or you have access to may have a different number, but if you can get over 11 wins at even money, I strongly suggest you'll take it. If I get it, I'm going to take it. Now, this is my opinion. I make these videos just as a way to communicate with you guys, but ultimately I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your opinion is, so drop a comment below. Now, look, don't forget, give me a thumbs up, drop your comment below, and hopefully I get to hear from you very soon. Tomorrow, I'm going to break down the New Orleans Saints, so I will see you tomorrow.